If journaling is new to you, let's talk about how we can use habit stacking to help build this habit a little easier. Much of our life is driven by habits that develop over time due to the reinforcement and our brain's preference for using those shortcuts. Habits that require more mental effort are harder to maintain, while those that come naturally are easier to stick with. For example, brushing our teeth or taking the kids to school on a specific schedule are easy habits to maintain. But even habits that are less beneficial, such as eating fast food instead of cooking a healthy meal, or watching TV instead of exercising, they follow the same mechanism. We often have to rely on self-control to maintain good habits that are not as easy to keep up. However, self-control requires a lot of mental effort, which can be depleted. Research has shown that self-control can be exhausted and exhausting. In a scientific study, 2 groups of people were asked similar math questions requiring their focus and concentration. But prior to asking the questions, one group had been given a platter of fruit that they were free to eat, while the other group had been presented with a platter of cookies. And they were told that cookies were an error. They were there for another study, so they could not eat them. As a result, the group that had to keep themselves from eating the cookies did noticeably worse at solving the math problems, the exact same math problems, than the group that didn't have to worry about the food that was in front of them, showing that willpower takes significant cognitive bandwidth, and it's much harder to maintain. Now, this doesn't mean that we should give up on strengthening habits that require willpower or mental work. Instead, we just need to approach them a little differently. Attaching a new habit to an existing one can help build repetition and make the new habit's cue more visible. For example, adding a short stretching routine right after brushing your teeth can help establish the new habit more easily. Now, the time it takes to form a habit varies from 21 to 70 days, depending on how complex the habit is. Making the habit specific, detailed, and concrete makes adopting it easier. So if we want our neurons to wire together and make that shortcut, we need to intentionally create similar conditions and be consistent with our practice. So by picking something simple and attaching it to an existing habit, you can reduce resistance and gradually make the new behavior a regular part of your routine. So for us, we need to find a time when we can set aside 20 minutes to write, when we will be somewhere where we can find a quiet, non-distracting place and have access to our journal and a pen. So for me, that was mornings, after I brushed my teeth. For you, it might be a lunch break or evening tea. Find something that you always do, every day, without having to think about it. That action will be your cue for journaling. Now, if you want to learn more about habit stacking, I recommend Atomic Habits by James Clear. You can find the link to the book on the page below.